As we enter 2025, I'm sure it will be the beginning of a lot of changes in the fashion industry. And I think this is because the industry is always evolving and naturally changing. And I hope that there will be some sustainability efforts in there and that will continue to merge and evolve. And so in this video, I will explore some of my predictions with no scientific backing whatsoever. I'm just going off of vibes, okay? And I will predict what we'll see in 2025. So I hope I make some accurate predictions. Hopefully they're good ones too. So if you're new here, I'm Elle and I make ethical fashion YouTube videos. I upload weekly, so feel free to subscribe and turn on your post notifications if you haven't already. And yeah, let's get into our first prediction. This one is more so about what's going to happen in fast fashion, but it's super relevant because I think Shein mini factories will pop up everywhere, which is a big no-no, but I think a lot of people have become suppliers. I have been seeing this everywhere. Like Mexican entrepreneurship is just emerging everywhere, and we're seeing like micro shops where they're like informal mini stores on Shein that are clearly not like Shein approved, but people are just trying to sell fast fashion more so than ever before to make money. I made a past video on this, so you can watch it if you want to, but I think this effort will really decentralize fast fashion and will really ship out more things, more fashion than ever before from every corner of the world. And I think it will actually make fast fashion more personalized. It'll make it like a small business, even though it's attached to like major brands. And I honestly think we need to be wary of this and to see how we can make this possible for sustainable fashion brands. Like, can you imagine if we had like a decentralized sustainable fashion initiative everywhere where everyone's participating can make money from it? That would be so cool. To get into my second prediction, I think that local vintage and secondhand boutiques will struggle to compete in 2025. I make this prediction based on what I've seen online with the rise of Depop, eBay, and Poshmark that provide really affordable pieces. I've also been seeing Goodwill bin outlets emerge, and if you're not familiar, the outlets are charging per pound and have all sorts of brands that vary in quality and value. And resellers often go there to buy things super cheaply, and then they mark it up 5 or 6 times more than what they originally bought it for, and then they put it in a very aesthetic store. And as a normal consumer that's looking to save money, I think it just makes more sense to go to the Goodwill bins, find those cool pieces for $1 versus paying like $50 in a fancy boutique. So it just may be harder for these secondhand and vintage stores to compete. And my third prediction goes along with what I said beforehand, which is that Goodwill bins will just rise in popularity. I think bins will just be more of an affordable option, especially as the thrifting stigma fades away. And I feel like we will normalize the thrill of having a good hunt, which is basically when we, go and look for things within the chaos of the bins. And I feel like it'll be a time where friends can hang out and roam around, especially for younger shoppers. And I've seen a lot of young men who are not going to college, who have a very like free entrepreneurial spirit, spend a lot of time there. So I think it'll be a sort of third hub and a cool way to hang out on a boring weekend with your friend and actually push us to buy secondhand fashion more so than ever before. And my fourth prediction is that malls will also be a third space for Gen Z. I feel like they need a place to hang out, to roam outside of like work and school. And I think malls will really come back and entertain us and be an interactive experience. I think it'll actually maybe support more fast fashion brands in the process, just because we'll be exposed to it a bit more. In the long run, I think we will really need to figure out how to invite more sustainable options in malls as more people go to find, fun and entertainment there. Another prediction I have in mind is also AI digital makeup. I don't know if you've heard of this or thought about this, but AI is really like revolutionizing the way we interact with fashion and beauty. And I honestly think that digital beauty brands will emerge where you will end up owning digital products that will help you alter how you look. Because if you think about it, we're increasingly online with the ever increasing pressure to look good and upload content, but it can be increasingly hard to distinguish between real and rendered images. And this sadly may encourage brands to embrace this ambiguity and make it tempting for us to move beyond basic and personalized filters and physical products and instead sell as a virtual beauty product. And it could actually help us save money on physical products that don't last long and don't fit our exact tones. And they could actually really market and price things that can be enticing, where it's like you're buying something that will last forever and will fit your exact exact needs. And I feel like as someone that's increasingly online, who always films things, live streams, I think this will really build interest in those that are on the internet a lot. But I think this will only build traction if it's cheap enough, where it doesn't look fake, like filters, and can be trusted if connected with a major beauty brand or influencer. That just make it seem cool and normal. And so my other prediction is that there's going to be price gouging in fast fashion, which I think retail stores will start to do, especially as we've seen it happen in grocery stores and in fast food. I think malls will do this to get more money. So many pieces will have the price on the shelf most likely, and a simple barcode will be on the clothing for the cashier to scan. And I think clothing will cost less during slow hours and more during peak hours, like 5 p.m. and onwards during the weekday and throughout the weekend. And I also feel like it'll make it easier to make out of season clothing cheaper versus having, associates do the typical thing of like manually going from piece to piece to discount certain items. I feel like it hasn't really happened in 2024, but maybe in 2025 we'll see just mass tech changes to prices on a big collective level, especially as we see more corporations get greedy and as fast fashion brands struggle with the tariffs that are happening under the Trump administration. But with this, I have another prediction that there's going to be more sustainable fashion influencers and content. I feel like there's more awareness of the evils in the fashion industry, and I think more influencers and online creators will champion sustainable fashion to really reshape how we engage with style and consumption. I especially think this is true given that streaming giants like Netflix have produced documentaries on the issues around consumption and the industry. So I think not only small but large influencers will start sharing more of their thoughts, start branding themselves more as sustainable content creators. They'll share their tips, their styling, their secondhand pieces, their upcycling tips, and also advocate for change. I also think merch will start to change, maybe only in its narrative for now, which has always, to be honest, been about, oh, let's just support me, but it's never been about the deeper meaning. It's just been about the aesthetics, and I think that will change. And then my other prediction is that we're going to have AI stylists made for fast fashion brands and for brands in general. I feel like AI will be used to personalize shopping experiences, especially online, where people can ask their concerns, they can ask about fits, they can make sure that things are measured right for their body. And I think more customers will do this so they can ensure that they buy what they love. And for the brands to reduce, returns and dissatisfaction, I think maybe it'll be as easy as uploading a photo online and then working with a personalized AI-powered stylist who will end up recommending outfits that are really tailored to your needs and desires. And I feel like this will really create emotional ties that have never been experienced in online shopping. And I think fashion brands that want to do good should take note of AI. And then another prediction I have is acceleration of fast fashion if we don't have regulation measures. I feel like fast fashion is posed to become faster unless we regulate it. However, tariffs and increased production costs might lead to higher prices, which will prompt consumers to really consider their shopping habits, and maybe this will push us to consume more thrifted items, more goodwill items. But I feel like with the tariffs as well, this will only push major fast fashion brands to create clothing in Mexico and other developing countries or third world countries, which can actually reshape how our clothing looks like on a collective basis. I am hopeful that people and organizations will implement strong regulation metrics so we can really cap how brands produce and how much to produce, and to really make sure that they're not just having their pieces end up in dumpsters. And so my 10th prediction is that there is going to be more influencers collaborating with major brands to create sustainable fashion collections, especially as we see more awareness of the issues in the fast fashion industry. I feel like there is going to be some more collaboration, some more like greenwashing happening, unfortunately, especially as we see more sustainable fashion influencers come up. I think it will be harder for us to distinguish which are the quote-unquote good ones and the bad ones, or which ones are doing it for the money and which ones are doing it for the real interests of the planet and people. I think they're going to be hosting virtual fashion shows to make their collections more accessible for a global audience, to spread awareness of their environmental friendliness, and to showcase their projects. So I would just be wary of this, but hopefully it allows for even more education. I'm trying to be optimistic. And then another prediction I have is the rise of bio-based and biodegradable materials. So I think this will just start to emerge more and more as we see more innovation in material. I think mycelium leather, algae-based textiles, and lab-grown fibers will grow in popularity, especially if they're marketed as renewable, biodegradable, and require fewer resources to produce. And I feel like this will really create luxury collections from small science-based designers and will shape luxury fashion. However, I think this will make sustainable fashion be more expensive, but I think it will open up new forms of materials for clothing and for more better education of how clothing can be made. But we do have enough clothing to clothe the next 6 generations. So in my opinion, I don't think these innovations are really that needed, because why do we need banana leather jackets if we have already too many leather jackets in existence that could just be upcycled or cleaned up a bit? But I think with sustainable fashion, I predict there's going to be much more desire to be innovators versus upcyclers. So just fair warning, there's going to be a lot of people saying they're innovators. That's all I gotta say. And then one of my last predictions is that there is going to be a rise in capsule wardrobes and quality items. I feel like fast fashion will rise again in awareness, and this concept of having a capsule wardrobe will be pushed into our mindsets to feel like we're participating in sustainable fashion. But again, this is an assumption. We don't need to create super curated collections of versatile, high quality pieces. Rather, I think we just should own what we already have. I don't really think that we should be buying into the demand for mid-price, like durable pieces. I feel like as long as we take care of the things that we have in our closet, we'll be doing good. And we don't have to buy ourselves into sustainable fashion. That's just a reminder. But I do think there will be that mass assumption that we have to like buy ourselves into it. Like we have to buy quality items. That's the most sustainable way to approach things. But again, these are assumptions. We don't have to buy things. We can just simply take care of our things and love our items, and just try to search online for very specific things that you actually need if you have to buy something, so you're not tempted to just mass overconsume if you do go to like a Goodwill bin or to a secondhand shop. It's just within capitalism, it's kind of hard to escape this idea that we need to buy and buy and buy so that we can be like on top of the sustainable fashion scene. But that leads me into fashion trends. So I think there's just going to be a lot of trends that we will hopefully want to consume sustainably. So a major pattern that I've seen is bohemian goddess vibes, and I've seen a lot of crocheted materials, which I think is a great way for people to further appreciate the handmade aspect of crochet and bring awareness of how fast fashion is cutting corners to produce these sorts of pieces. And another trend that I've seen that will hopefully maybe come is this sense of elevated athleisure, which will mix like textured leggings with stretchy pants and other stretchy materials to make this combination of comfort and style. This is just a reminder that you don't need to buy. You can like actually use the things that are in your closet to make creative, fun pieces, and it just has to be athleisure vibes, you know? It doesn't have to be anything too complicated. But if you don't have anything like that, you can always go to Depop or Poshmark to support these trends, but in a secondhand way. And then another trend that I've seen is animal prints, which is kind of surprising to me, but if you want to be ethical about it, you could always opt for screen printed animal prints like cheetah prints, snakeskin, and zebra. I've seen those be super popular or are going to be popular. And I've also seen the asymmetrical trend, which is where they got like something going on that's at an angle, usually a dress or a shirt, which you can honestly just do by cutting a sleeve and then just like sewing the hem so it doesn't fray. So you can upcycle things, you can DIY your way into these trends, to be honest. Just a gentle reminder, you don't gotta buy new, but you can always go on eBay. These are all past styles. Like none of these trends are quote unquote new trends. And then one of the last trends that I've noticed is the sling back shoes, which again have always been in existence. They're just coming back in. So again, look them up if you don't have them and if you want to participate. But yeah, that's basically all of my predictions. Let me know if you think any of these are accurate or interesting, or if you have your own predictions for sustainable fashion in 2025. And it can obviously be connected to what's happening in the fast fashion industry. And until the next time, peace and love, Elle. Bye.